Hello, and thanks for joining us on Encore. Coming up in today's show, we meet Rose Holmer, the filmmaker who impressed the critics at Sundance and Deauville film festivals.
5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Her directorial debut, The Fits, follows Toni, a girl torn between the boxing gym and the dance studio. She finds herself suspended between the worlds of childhood and adolescence, male and female universes, and she's witness to a mysterious contagion among her peers. Rose is in the studio to tell us more. Rose Holmer, thanks so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Your film, The Fits, now the title is a bit ambiguous. It could mean somebody who's fit and healthy, it could mean a kind of physical convulsion, but it also made me think about fitting in. Which of these titles is close to what you wanted to say?
I actually really like that it's nodding to all of those interpretations because part of the film is about maintaining that mysterious ambiguity where things might have double meanings. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can say maybe all of the above. Now, I heard that there's a lot of dancing in the film. I heard you were inspired by a real-life dance troupe, and it's a style of dancing called drill. How did you encounter this style?
Yeah, we actually originally started writing the script without a dance team in mind. It was more broad strokes. And then when we started to research, we really wanted to cast a real dance team in our film. And we found the Cute Kids dance team from Cincinnati on YouTube. And we actually moved our production there. We started to write with them in mind, write with that location in mind. And so things kind of adapted to fit them.
And we can see the Cute Kids dancing.
Yeah,
they are pretty impressive and really very good at what they do. Now, the main character, Toni, she gets involved in this dance troupe, and she's caught between a male and a female universe in the school gym where she is, boxing on the one hand, dance on the other. Visually, how did you separate the two?
Yeah, we have almost very extreme binary gendered spaces between the masculine and the feminine. It's almost comically binary, but visually we wanted to separate that. We used very primary colors in the male world: blue, white, red, gray, and then in the girls' world you get the secondary colors. You get purple, gold, teal, and so we tried to visually separate those, and Toni is the character who can move between those spaces.
Mm-hmm. Now, the main character, Toni, she's not very talkative. There's very rare bits of script for her. Now, let's look at a rare exchange between Toni and her brother.
You trying to break your wrist?
What do you care?
Dang, dancing must really got you weak. Dang. Hold up. Come on now, Tom. What's wrong?
I'm scared.
Scared? Scared of what? It's all in your mind. Trust me, they're gonna get better.
So with a limited script and limited dialogue, how did you choose to create her character in a non-verbal way?
Yeah, our entry point to this film was really exploring the narrative through movement, through dance. And yes, there's traditional dance on film, but there's also the idea that you can infuse all of the narrative sentiments through movement. So we think of it a dance film from frame one to closing credits. And we were working with young athletes, young dancers, so it was very easy to access that kind of emotional content through body motions, through breath. And that was always our intention. We always had a very lean dialogue script.
Now, in the clip, we see Toni mention something she's afraid of. This is a phenomenon that's happening among the girls that she knows. I don't want to give too much away, but it's definitely talking about collective behavior, this kind of instinct to mirror other people around you, this groupthink, as it were. But it seems to be happening to women in the film. Do you think this is inherently female behavior?
We looked at a lot of historical cases from medieval times to, I'm sure an episode like this happened a couple weeks ago somewhere in the world. And the trend was towards female groups of adolescents. It's not by any means exclusively a female phenomenon. You think about a sports game and the kind of rowdiness that a crowd can get into. I think that we all have a tendency to kind of look to each other and identify I mean, as simple as looking at someone and smiling, like you want to smile back, we want to connect.
Okay. Certain psychological dimension there. Now, we're staying with dance and taking a look at a company made famous by its charismatic and sometimes controversial choreographer, Benjamin Millepied. He's returned to the LA Dance Project in the US after a stint at the Paris Opera. His new show, Homecoming, sees Millepied return to the stage. Emerald Maxwell has this report.
Marking a triumphant return to LA, Benjamin Millepied was on the red carpet with wife Natalie Portman for the premiere of 4 new dancers with his company, the Los Angeles Dance Project. The choreographer and former star dancer of the New York City Ballet took to the stage for the first time in a year in a collaborative performance with LA artist Mark Radford, composer Philip Glass, and singer Rufus Wainwright.
He just said it made him feel like dancing, which isn't often what I hear with my music. People usually feel like crying when they listen to my material, but he felt like dancing.
Millepied's 14 months as director of the Paris Opera Ballet was, he said, a fantastic experience, but not a good fit for him. He is relishing his return to LA and the creative freedom of the city. He now hopes to make ballet more accessible, exploring new terrain with his dance troupe with immersive performances.
I think we need to imagine the city like a playground, doing different things like dancing on sites, collaborating with museums. There's no need to know dance to understand it. We need to go to the people who don't come to the theatre, because at the moment theatre feels like a temple, a 50s version of a Roman temple, and with very expensive prices.
Millepied founded the Los Angeles Dance Project in 2011. Their art, he says, is needed now more than ever.
We need to make people discover this art, especially in this current period of uncertainty. We don't know where the world is going, or even where America is going. Whatever the social or economic problems may be, we are no longer asking why art exists and why we need it.
Hinting that Saturday may have been his last time taking the stage as a dancer, Benjamin Millepied is now set on other projects, including a new feature film. But he says his main focus is consolidating his company's success, giving it a vital future on LA's creative scene.
Now, Anna Rose, you've worked with dance before in your career, producing Ballet 42, which follows the New York City Ballet. What do you think it is about dance that makes it a good pair for cinema?
I just think that dance is a very universal language. You know, the way we gesture, the way we carry our body, we communicate so much about our internal state, and cinematic experience is a kinetic experience, and it's not just the movement of the performers, it's the movement of the camera, it's the movement through time. So I love all of those choreographic elements, and playing with them on screen is a joy.
Well, there is a certain poetry to the movement of the film. Now, in the film The Fits, we talked about this separation of male and female spaces visually, which you created as a director, but do you feel this gender separation actually exists within the film industry in your experience?
I definitely think that there's a lot of attention right now on the inequity between genders in the film and TV industry. It's not unique to film and TV. I think that problem exists in many disciplines. But yeah, what I can do is continue to make work, to carve out space, to take risks, and hope that it gets easier each time we work.
And you made the film The Fits with a micro budget using non-professional actors, and you had to film and edit and turn it around quite quickly. How did these limitations push you creatively?
Yeah, actually, I really love the limitations on this. I think that they're quite extreme. We from first draft to world premiere in Venice was 11 months, so it was really like a sprint to the finish line. But I think it forced us to kind of just make decisions and deal with the consequences, and stay very present tense, which is a gift, I think, when you're making film.
Certainly not easy to work in those conditions. Now, Benjamin Millepied mentions there that it's important right now to nurture the arts and promote them. Do you think enough is being done right now to make sure that diverse films are getting made?
I think that there's so much work to be done. Cinema is occupying such a narrow gaze, both in terms of what we see on screen and what we see behind the scenes. And I think that so much more work can be done to open the blinders to include more voices, both in the decision making and kind of the storytelling, because it's our responsibility, I think, to share diverse experiences and to experience a point of view of the quote-unquote other is really necessary.
And speaking of the next generation, what's coming next? Your main actress, Royalty Hightower, she seems to be a huge talent. Where did you find her?
She's incredible. She's actually part of the dance team that we found in Cincinnati. She was girl, I think, number 8 that we saw. We fell in love with her immediately. She has an incredible presence. She already filmed another film this summer, and she's starring in a big film coming up. She's incredible. I can't wait to watch her career blossom.
Well, I think we'll be seeing much more from her and from you.
Thank you.
Anna Rose, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, to a very different style of dance, we'll leave you with a clip of Angelin Préjlocage's rendition of Romeo and Juliet, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary here at the Palais de Chaillot. Remember, you can get more arts and culture news on our website, and you can also keep up with Encore on our social media channels. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.